kids to know. Because there are so many opportunities out there, but a lot of it is, do you want to put your phone away, please? Thank you. What you need to know and how to go about it, and you guys can achieve anything that you want to do. So I'll start out by, I am the assistant principal at Grand Island Senior High School. I was hired in 1981 through the Grand Island Public Schools, and I taught the resource program. And so I co-taught in English and co-taught in government, and was the head volleyball coach for 17 years here. And then in 2000, then I became assistant principal. And I've done the assistant principal where my responsibilities, I build the master schedule. So all the classes that you get in our teacher schedule, that's my responsibility. I'm in charge of substitute teachers. And my alphabet is R-I to Z. I work with 2 counselors, Mr. Woods and Mr. Ewing, and our social worker, Patty Bennett. And then we have secretaries that also help us in the East office. So I was very fortunate that I was the first female administrator at Grand Island Senior High School, the year 2000. Very fortunate, but our superintendent said, you know, senior high is growing and growing, and we need to have a female administrators to work with our female teachers and our female students. And so I was very honored. But this week I had some exciting news. I interviewed and I was hired to be the next activities director. And so what Mr. Cutlass does in the activities office, I'll be working with athletes and coaches for the next how many years, I don't know. But I have been at Grand Island Senior High School, hired through the district since 1981. How many years is that?
36.
36 years. Yep, 36 years I've been an Islander. Did not grow up in Grand Island. My husband, Joe Wells, who teaches here, he was a graduate of Grand Island Senior High. I grew up in a small town in Cozad, but Mr. Wells and I met in college back then it was Kearney State, and now it's the University of Nebraska at Kearney. We had 2 sons, Brooks and Kirby, but then we also raised Mr. Strins from Walnut. How many of you guys know Mr. Strins from Walnut? Okay, Mr. Strins, he came to live with us when he was in 8th grade. And so he was always like a son to me as well. All right, so what are some challenges about my job? You know, I think what I have to really be good at is I have to be a multitasker. You know, there's lots of things that happen throughout the day, and I might come in and at 7 o'clock in the morning, and at 7:15 I have a parent and a student already in my office. Administrators, we don't get a set appointments. When a parent comes in, we don't turn them away. Because we're not like a doctor's office where you have to make an appointment 3 months ahead of time to come see us. So on any given day, I really don't know how my day's gonna go. And that's the exciting part. My day does start at 5 o'clock in the morning because I am in charge of substitute teachers. So my phone will start beeping about 5 o'clock, telling me how many teachers are gone for the day. And then I have to make sure that there's a substitute teacher in every classroom. And the sons in the district sometimes are limited because out of thousands of teachers, people do get sick. And then after working all day, then we attend school activities. So sometimes my day starts at 5:15 and I get home at 10 o'clock at night. But there's nothing better than being with kids and teachers and coaches, most of the time 6 days a week. Thank goodness for Sundays, right, where they make us rest. And so anyway, but I've always said the great thing about being in education is I don't have to go to work every day. I get to go to work and be with kids, because being around kids from ages 14 to 21, there's nothing better. And then our fantastic staff. We interviewed 3 people yesterday for an art position here, because we're adding an art teacher. And that's also the fun thing, is to interview these new teachers coming out of college and then offering them a job and seeing the big smile on their faces. So that also goes with that. I think what was the most rewarding project I worked on, it's coming up. It'll be on Mother's Day. The most rewarding thing in our school is watching our graduates graduate at the Heartland Event Center on Mother's Day. You work 4 years to try to get these kids through, and it's just such an honor. And it's something that I think is probably one of the biggest rewards with our kids, but every day working with teachers, helping them grow, building those personal relationships with our staff. There's nothing better than that. Why did I choose to go into education? My grandmother was a teacher for many years. And so when I would go out on the farm, she would always have papers to check. And of course, when I was little, I always wanted to play school and all that way back then. So I've always really wanted to be a teacher. And like I said, I started out with my BA from Kearney State College. And then I received my master's degree from the University of Nebraska at Kearney. And then I went back to school and got my master's degree in administration. So kids, we never quit going to school. Teachers never quit going to school because it's something that we do. It helps with our pay, but it also keeps us on top of what's going on in the educational world today. Then it says, how does your career affect the world? Will this position be around 5, 10, 15 years? Yes. But within the next 2 years, we're going to see a lot of changes at Grand Island Senior High School. We're working really hard right now. We will become a preparatory institute. That means that our class periods will be 90 minutes long. We will be on a block schedule. There'll be 6 career clusters that you will pick one cluster that you want to go into. So if I wanted to go into education in high school, there's an education career. So then I would start to take all of those classes in that academic career placement. And I'd go out and job shadow. I would do a lot of different things. So for you guys, by the time you're seniors, you will not be sitting in a 50-minute class period. We're going to get you ready for college and career readiness. So block scheduling, I've never taught under a block. I really don't know what it's going to look like, but it's exciting. And we have to do this for you kids because we have to be able to, you kids have to compete out in our society today with jobs. And you don't always have to go to college to do it, but we have to teach you the skills in high school to help you someday be the boss of the company. How many kids work at McDonald's? Do any of you guys work? Where do you work?
Sonic.
At Sonic. So if you choose maybe to not go to college, or maybe to go to a 2-year college and do something in business management, you keep working at Sonic and keep working your way up, you could be a manager of Sonic someday. And you know what? That is awesome. So you can start by, working, what do you do there?
I'm a car hop.
Car hop, and all the way to the top. My husband's dad, way back when, started out at Pepsi Cola. He was 15 years old, would go load the Pepsi trucks at night with Pop, all those big semis. He eventually worked his way up to being the president of the Pepsi Cola Company in Grand Island. Never went to college. So it was hard work, commitment, knowledge, and a lot of it was just having the people skills to be able to work with people and go to work every day. He always told us, you know what, you better go to work today because tomorrow you might really be sick. So sometimes we wake up and you don't feel very good, come to school and try anyway, because tomorrow you might really be sick. Okay, and I already talked about what my typical day looks like. How do you rate your job on a scale 1 to 10 on the basis of fun? Oh, 10. It is fun. Some days challenging. I love it. Is your job physical strain or mental? Probably the mental part. But I go up and down these hallways, I don't know how many times a day, up and down the stairs. But the mental piece is just because you never know what's gonna hit you. You never know if a kid's gonna be in crisis. You never know if somebody's gonna get in a fight. You never know, you know, every day is different in education. Did you know you're going to be doing this job at what age? Really young. Does your job take any special talents? I think the thing is you have to be a good listener. I have to be consistent with how I discipline and build those relationships with kids and teachers. Can I live and work anywhere in the United States with my job? Yeah, I could go any place, but I would have to take their state test because every state has a different test for the education requirement. But right now, yeah, I could go any place and have a job. Are there limitations on your personal social life because of the nature of the work? You know, the good thing, I mean, is, yeah, but my husband's a coach and we kind of knew what our lifestyles were like. So there's a lot of nights that, yeah, we would eat supper at 8:30 at night and I'd get the kitchen cleaned up and it would be time to go to bed. Social life, just, you know, just doing things, being around kids, going to activities. Let's see. What job would you have chose if you did not do what I'm doing now? I think I would have went into nursing. You know, that's helping people too. And I think that's a rewarding, anything in your work with people is rewarding. So if I wouldn't have been a teacher, I would have probably majored in the nursing program. What are some things you don't like about your job? And that, you know, I think the hardest deal, the first day I was on my job, I had a student that was killed in a car wreck the night before. And I had to go make that home visit with Dr. Mann, who was the principal at the time. And I had never experienced going into a parent's home who had just lost a child and understanding what they had gone through, because I had never lost a child. So it was one of those that I couldn't say, I understand what you're going through, because I had no idea. That was a tough day for me, because I had never done it. And that's probably, you know, we've had some kids that have been in car wrecks or some other things have happened that has caused death. That's really hard, because it's hard on our school. You see the impact that it has on kids, on families, but together we all get through it somehow. I tell you that one thing that irritates me about my job, and that is social media. I spend way too much time trying to help people that have made rude comments on Facebook, Instagram, trying to keep up with all the different social media stuff. But kids, I'll tell you, I think the thing that I'm just appalled about, it breaks my heart how kids talk to each other. The language that they use in social media, the things they say, and all of that leads to bullying. Bullying leads to suicide. And that's the hardest thing about this job. I spend way too much time trying to fix social media. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, we should be able to take care of one another. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it and don't get involved in somebody else's mess. Because you have to remember, kids, everything you post, it stays in the server. And when someday you go to apply for colleges, for scholarships, for jobs, we can click on, just like those 3 art candidates yesterday. We were able to read all 3 of their Facebook pages before we even interviewed them. And if there would have been one negative thing, one cuss word, one threat, they would have never gotten an interview in this district. College, they're gonna check your Facebook page. But before you even get out of high school, if you kids knew the amount of scholarships, the amount of money that's there for you to go to college, it's unbelievable. So you have to get on, you have to apply for the scholarship. We have a committee, and you apply and you get a number on the application, because we don't know who you are when we're reading through all of the scholarships until your name is brought up, and then us administrators are involved, and we click on and say, oh, this is a $20,000 scholarship. But you know what? I'm gonna look in their behavior tab and their contact log. Because I think we might have had some issues with Facebook and bullying. And all I do is click, and if it has it in there, guess what happens to that $20,000 scholarship that was awarded to you? What happens to it?
You don't get it?
You don't get it. It goes to the next person. So you guys need to remember that. And we have had kids lose thousands of dollars because they hit the send button on social media. That's what's keeping kids from getting scholarships today. It's not your grades. They're important, but it's not your grades. It is your behavior with social media is what's keeping kids from getting into college, from getting good jobs, and getting scholarships. So if you don't learn anything today, know that. Be nice to one another. Be careful when you hit send. Okay, what's the most satisfying thing about your job? Money, vacation, coworkers, retirement. Coworkers are the best. That's the adults and you kids. I work for you kids too every day. The retirement, I will tell you, the education retirement in Nebraska, it's pretty darn good. Our salaries aren't real good leading up to it, but once you're retired, and you can retire at 55, you get 80% of your salary. But if you go till 65, you get 100% of your salary, and the school matches your salary. So at age 65, it would be like me coming to work for free every day. So our retirement it's pretty good in Nebraska. Our insurance is terrible. Terrible, because teachers, we have to pay our own insurance out of our monthly salary. And if you have a family plan, it's about $1,200 a month out of our salaries. But once we raised our kids, so Mrs. Beach, there is hope. Once you raise your kids, then you can each take a single, but that's $500 a month. And so that comes, because our district does not pay our insurance. And insurance is expensive. That's what you hear in the government all the time. They want to do something with the insurance. But our retirement is an excellent retirement plan. What type of education is needed to do this job? A master's degree in administration leadership. And then I continue to take classes, have my specialist degree. Mrs. Minkin and Mr. Gilbertson are getting their doctorates. So they're going one step ahead of me. But I didn't go for my doctorate because I was putting 2 boys through college. And we couldn't have all three of us going at one time. Okay, what questions do you want to ask me?
Just out of curiosity, will you be the only female AD in our area, in the state?
No, Tracy Douglas over at Hastings, she's a female at Hastings High. Lincoln has an assistant that's a female, but they do have a head of the whole athletic department in Lincoln. I think there's a couple in Omaha, but throughout, there's only about, I would say, less than 10 of us. Yeah. And so I've been getting emails saying, welcome to the world of men, or you women go get those men. But I also was the only female here, and I worked with 4 men. So.
Yeah, that was the scariest day of my life, that interview, because you weren't there.
Yeah.
And it was all the guys, and we had to wait like half an hour because they wouldn't start without Dr. Mann, and he was in some kind of conference call, and that was the scariest day of my life.
But you got hired, and look where you're at today.
Thank goodness for Kruger.
Right, where, and Miss Milton, a student at Grand Island Senior High School.
Yeah.
And then, when, in fact, I was talking to her mom at a scholarship meeting, because we do have community people, and I said, how is Erin doing? And she said, really good, but she's kind of wanting to get back to Grand Island. I said, we have an opening right now. So I called her at McCook, and I said, we have an opening, do you want to come home? And she said, yeah. So, yeah, sometimes it's not what you know all the time. There's a little piece of who you know to help you. And that's okay in life too. But the thing is, I knew Erin as a student. I knew her at Hastings College, and we're related. So, so that was a piece of, but I knew what a great teacher she would be. And have I been wrong?
No.
No way. I bring the best, don't I? Yeah.
I have a question, Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
What have you seen has been the biggest change at senior high since you've been here?
Cell phones and social media, technology, yeah, is the biggest change. But you know what? That's our world today. And I worry about that because I don't think our kids communicate face to face. And I hope maybe next year through some of our advisory activities, we can do more face to face. Because I will tell you, when we interview young kids right out of college, you ask them a question and they just answer, boom. And you're like, tell us more, tell us more. They're not used to communicating except sending a quick message back to somebody. So I think that technology and cell phones have been the biggest thing. But I will also tell you, all the AP and honors classes, the dual credit classes that we offer. Grand Island in this area, you guys, it's amazing what you can take here. Both of my boys graduated. Erin, you graduated from senior high, ready to be a sophomore in college, and never had to leave this campus. So get into those dual credit classes, get into those AP classes, and work hard because it will pay off in the long run.
Because
yeah.
the CCC and AP classes here, you're gonna pay like 1/10 of what you have to pay at college to take them here, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you also get done with college faster.
And college is not cheap. College is anywhere, like Central Community College per class next year will be almost $300. And you guys, it used to be $90, but it's like $90 a credit hour.
Yep.
And you have to take 3 credits for one class. And to go way back when I graduated, you guys, it was hard. College was $1,100. And I worked like 4 jobs in the summer because my parents had 4 of us in college at one time. My parents would help me pay for my room and board so I would have food and shelter. But I had to pay for every one of my classes because then they knew I would get up and go to class every day. In my 4 years of college, right out of high school, I missed one day of class in 4 years. And I had mono. And it was right before Christmas break. But one day, that's pretty amazing. But I had to write that check. And I remember the first time I wrote the check for 1,000. I thought, oh my God, how am I gonna get all of this on that little line? You know, and now you kids would just take your debit cards and swipe them, right? But to where our son Brooks went to the University of Nebraska, he played baseball, that scholarship helped, but it was $14,000 for him to go. Kirby went to Hastings College and he had a great scholarship for baseball, $31,000. But you know what? They're both paying student loans. We all had student loans, parent loans, but don't ever let money stand in your way that you can't go to college because you don't have the money. Kids, there's a ton of money out there. Apply for loans. It's okay. That's your best investment once you graduate with a degree. Don't ever get a charge card, ever a charge card.
No.
Use your debit. If you can't pay for something, don't charge it. Because the interest rates right now are unbelievable. Come give me some good life skills. No credit cards ever, kids.
And if you work in high school, save your money.
Oh boy, put it away. Put it in a college deal.
Because you have to report it in financial aid, and if you show that you make a lot of money and you've spent it all, you don't get the financial aid help, and then you don't also have the money to pay for the college either.
Well, and one of the questions on the scholarship application is, how are you going to finance your college? How are you gonna pay for college? And the ones I look for are the kids who are like, well, I worked through high school, I've saved this money, I'm gonna get a part-time job in college and save that money to help pay. Those are the kids you wanna give your scholarships to because they have a great work ethic. They know what it takes.
And our son Brooks went, you know, we made them pay for their own tuition too, because then you have to get up and you make sure you go to class every day. Then he said, you know, Mom, that was the best thing that you and Dad did, because I had friends that their parents just wrote the check, they skipped class all the time. But he said, I knew I was paying. And then we had an account for his social life that he had to work for. And in October, he called and said, I don't have any more money in that account. I said, ooh, sucks to be you right now. You're gonna be eating popcorn and ramen noodles. But I go, Brooks, how'd you go through that money? Well, Mom, we went and did this, we ate out. I mean, you eat out all the time when you're a freshman. I said, why are you eating out? I paid for you to have a food plan. Well, I know, but we like to order pizza at 10 o'clock at night. And I said, ooh. So from October to December, he was like, I just lived on noodles. I said, good. Second semester, he never called and said he ran out of money. So, yeah.
Well, that's another life skill you kind of have to learn, is managing your money.
How to budget. Make sure you know how to do laundry before you go to college, because sometimes Brooks even had pink underwear because he would wash his Nebraska jersey with whites. Well, that red and white made pink. And I was like, oh my, Brooks. So with Kirby, I made sure that he knew how to do his laundry before he went to college. But there's just so many life skills, kids, that you really need to learn to either be out on your own, because you don't want to live with your parents the rest of your life, right? No, because they'll always have a curfew, believe me. Okay, what other questions? I did that good, really?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I think this is a neat project, what you're doing. And just remember, kids, don't let anybody ever tell you you cannot accomplish something, ever. All right, well, I'll come in this room again,
Yeah.
Yep,
6, 7, and 8.
that'd be perfect.
Okay, all
April
right,
will bring
kids.
our kiddos in with Kurtz's, so it'll be a big 8th grade group.
That's okay. All right, okay. And thank you for putting away your cell phone, Penny, when I asked you to. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, can we do 3 on 3? 1, 2, 3.
And you guys have a good day. The sun is shining, 80 degrees this week. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.